What's good, YouTube? Cardfight King here, Aqua Life baby. You already know how it is. So, this video has been something that I've been mulling over doing for quite a while, and I had to, before I originally made the video, I needed to actually play with the card and get some qualitative data on it. And originally, this was going to be a why I hate Vivianna video. And I do not like this card. I wish I could just throw this card into the ocean, let it dip down, sink to the bottom, then something blast it back out as a totally different, redesigned, and much better card. But that's not going to happen now, is it? No. Yet, I run the card at 2 in my deck. Because when I would play against opponents, whether it be on area, real life, even playing against Aquaforce myself, I would ask rather than just play test and see how it's being used, I would ask my opponents, like, hey, what did you think about this card in this scenario? Why did you expend the shield really to block the column she was on? It wasn't the 4th battle for Maelstrom. It was more like the 5th battle. Why did you expend the shield to block her from going off? And a lot of the answers that I've been getting was that, well, one, you're an Excel deck, so I don't want you to get any extra shielding, to potentially block my next turn with, which is perfectly understandable because she goes into the soul and you do draw 1. Now, she's more or less replacing herself. She's not a plus. She's just, replacing herself. But that could be, a trigger, a PG, whatever it is that you could use. It could be that, they plan on blowing up your Tidal Assault next turn and they don't want you to move more cards in your library outside of the draw phase, to get to, another copy of Tidal or an Algos or something like that. They could be playing that. So there's just a various amount of reasons for that. Additionally, people who seem to be more resource, resource conscious, they're like, well, Vivianna means that you're going to give something plus 3k, which could potentially, depending on where the power is at, break a certain threshold of shielding. In addition to that, it gives you an extra card in your soul for Tidal Assault, where, the only way you'd be able to build up soul for Tidal Assault is, rewriting your Vanguard. So there are some scenarios into which, why opponents didn't want to block her. Some opponents just generally don't care because she's not that good. Personally, I don't like her, but I see what she has potential to command out of opponents. And that's just the fact that I'm getting a card, I'm replacing her with another card in my hand that they don't know what it is, and it could be something that I need for the following turn for either defense or my next turn when I go back on the offense. So that's mostly the reason why I place her. Now, I do hate her because she is 3rd battle or more. She's on hit. I mean, my goodness, on hit on a Vanguard. Not even on hit on a rear guard. On hit on a Vanguard and 3rd battle or more, which means that she's very limited in where you can place her. And offensively, she doesn't do anything for you in terms of attacking. Obviously, it's just an 8k vanilla. And most of the times, her best position is being ridden and just placed to the sides. So I'm just going to show you a few, example fields of where, and how she can potentially be useful. And I find her more useful more in the early game than anything else. But let me show you. For example, a field like this. Now, this turn 2 rush is extremely risky. Personally, I'm not a big fan of going for this turn, mostly because opponent hits a damage trigger, kind of shuts down certain things, but then the opponent has the ability to, counter rush you, take out your Tidal Assault, and then, if you don't have a backup plan in mind, again, at the beginning of the game, your hand's not that big, but it's kind of just like, you put your balls on the table and, see what your opponent does. Type of thing. And, if you can defend it, great. If not, then you really lose out on things, which is why I'm also going to make a video about tempoing out your plays so that you don't lose resources. Because the beautiful thing about Tidal and Algos is that they're two rear guards built into one. They're literally two attacks in one card, and this lets us have the ability to conserve some hand and still get off a pretty nice pressurizing turn. And then they're also damage sponges. Opponents will swing at these cards like it's no tomorrow. So there's that. But in a situation like this, Vivianna really works either behind the rear guard or the Vanguard, and it just depends on how you want to set your turn. If you put it behind Tidal, you can swing Tidal, resand Tidal, swing Algos, and then swing Tidal again. Or if you have like a counter blast, you could do Tidal twice, Algos, counter blast, soul blast, resand Tidal, and then have her, and then she goes off because you're going to soul blast one. She'll go into your soul and replace the card that you soul blasted. So there is there is merit in that. You can have her behind behind your Algos, or something like that, where you can swing twice with Tidal, swing with Algos, resend Tidal. If you hit great into soul, plus 3k, draw a card, swing again. So those are just a few examples of just early game plays. But sometimes having either one of them on the board, like let's say you ride him, right, and you want a pretty decent attack turn off, but you're not really trying to use up your soul like that in a way. You could be like, okay, I got Tidal here, I got him there, I can put this behind here, I can do, I can swing, and then, this, is at least a 20k column. And then if you hit, you can still go into the soul and draw a card, if that's what you feel like doing. Again, you can have him back here, swing, and then, swing again. Same thing with Algos. If you have a counter blast available to you, you can swing, counter blast, restand, swing, and then swing with her. Again, this is just early game plays, and I'm not taking into account the opponent's ability to hit a damage trigger, but these are certain plays that you can make in the early game. And there are a lot there are a lot more plays that you could do, things like involving him, things involving him, him being like the third battle or fourth battle, depending on how much you split out your field. You could go 1, 2, 3, 4, and he'll be at 13, 8, 21, something like that. So there are different ways you could do that, especially if you have Theo. If you open up with Theo behind Vanguard, swing if it hits, give 8k to the thing that's in front of her, and then that's an even bigger column, more pressurizing, gets you a soul and a card back. So there are different ways to be able to use her. You also have some plays with grade 3. Let me show you one sec. So again, as a slight example field in terms of getting grade 3s, I generally find her a lot more useful behind a Riptide column, because Riptide's either going to command one of two things, either a no guard or a perfect guard. Because this column, just base without any Maelstrom skill or whatever it is, you're looking at a 40k column, and that is, that's about a 30k shield, vanilla, just to block him. Coupled in with Maelstrom skill, that's a 43k column. That's a 20 and a 15. That's a 35k shield. Most will we have to throw out. And if you hit any triggers or anything, and you do hit a trigger like a front or something, put it on Riptide, then that's even bigger. So like I said, at the end of the day, your opponent's either going to no guard that, or they're going to perfect guard him. And I find her just a lot more useful behind Riptide than anything else. Now, if you're in the scenario where, you call her out and she's there. Like, let's say you don't have a Riptide or something. You got that. Behind either one is fine if you use Maelstrom's ability. If you're not on Maelstrom, then, sticking her behind something, it'd be the same thing. It'd be 20 or whatever it is. But, like, let's just say, you're sticking her behind here. Well, if you use Maelstrom's ability, then this becomes the 23k column. Same with Lazarus. It becomes the 23k column, which hits really good on Force clans, obviously. Outside of that, this is a 20k column, so, regardless of what Vanguard you're on, it is still a 10k block, but, these are the only really useful places she's at. Now, if you were to, like, let's just say, if you were to switch these two, I think that, being behind a Naval Gazer would be beneficial as well, because with Naval Gazer, you'll swing with him on the third battle generally, sometimes the fourth battle if you're, like, getting a... if you're trying to get like a certain Riptide play off, you can swing with everything, and then swing with Riptide, then swing with him, restand Riptide. Then it works here. She doesn't really work behind Maelstrom because Maelstrom really wants to be the first or second attack, and then restand to be, kind of the fourth, it'd be kind of the fifth attack, if anything. So, or fourth, depending on where your opponent let hit and, he restands. So she really is not valuable behind Maelstrom at all, but if you do have Naval Gazer, she does open up a little bit, though your power columns will be significantly less and not going to hit more. Like if you're on Naval Gazer and Maelstrom's out here, whatever, at most, this is a 20k column, so you'd rather want her behind a Riptide, something like that. But, let me clean this up real quick. But, all in all, I don't think she's a good card. I think she's really lackluster, but she does have moments in which she really does shine, and which is why I cut down on a few other things to just put her in just as a different option, something for me to see, something for me to use, and just add a different element of pressure. Not saying that it's great, and, the first sign of grade 1 support, new support that we see hopefully coming soon, she's going to be immediately cut from the deck. She's the first on the chopping block. Make no mistake about this. She is first on the chopping block as far as cards that need to be cut from an Aquaforce deck. She is definitely first. But let me know your thoughts about Vivianna. I don't like her, but I do find that she can be useful in spots. Outside of, what she does in terms of boosting, again, she's limited depending on what Vanguard, what grade 3 Vanguard you're on, as well as what columns you have to make. So she's really limited in that regard, but she does have her, usefulness. And again, just collecting data from my opponents, it's just certain things that they, at certain points in the game, that they do want to go off, that they're fine with letting go off, or they just don't want to let go off. So let me know what you guys think. What are your thoughts on Vivianna? And stay tuned. I got some more videos coming out, more spotlights on certain cards and what I think about them coming soon. Evolution of Aquaforce, Part 3 I think we're on, coming out very soon as well. Stay tuned for that. Cardfight King, Aqua Life, baby. You already know how it is. We out.